Hello everyone, welcome back. And I just realized I never explained my journey after high school and where I'm at today. Silly me. I always assumed everyone knew what I was talking about. I explained certain elements of how I arrived to starting this channel and such. However, I never said my revelations. So quickly and briefly, I'll just try to highlight, instead of getting into at this time I did this, I'll get into where my mind was and why I shifted so many different ways. So right at right at the end of high school, or starting university, my major was hospitality and tourism at university. That was a wrong decision on my part. I didn't like it. I didn't engage with it. I didn't see the value of school. I was immature, and I went through over 3 years. I went through 2.5 years. There was a semester where I didn't go to school, and then I went back. So over that time, I didn't see the value of what I was doing, and I didn't engage in it in the correct way. So ultimately, I left. I left once as a little gap, and then I left again for good. And I left to go do electrical apprenticeship, because my mind was, I want to make money, I want a job, I want to work. Okay? I didn't see the value. I didn't think I was going to find a job in that field, that field specifically, hospitality, because I was so narrow-minded and didn't realize, or didn't think, let me try just finishing and then maybe I'll look into something else. So anyway, it is what it is. My grades were not great, but they were not reflective of my capability, because really I didn't try. And in the classes that I was engaged in, I actually did well. So I didn't attribute it to the fact, I never thought that I couldn't do it. I just knew I didn't want to do it. And that was probably worse. Usually when it's something that's a challenge, or something that I feel like I can do this, even though I guess it's a challenge anyway. If it's something that people tell me I can't do it, or I feel like I'm struggling, then I'm more motivated to do it. So anyway, I left school. I did electrical apprenticeship for 2 years, and that was great. I enjoyed it, but the whole time I still felt unfulfilled. I felt like there's something more. In that time, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was the first book I ever read that had to do with thinking differently. I don't know if you want to call it self-help, self-improvement, personal development. It's definitely more on the finance side of things. But anyway, that's how I got into finance, was through that book, where I learned the concept of passive income. So that made me look at everything differently, because I'm working 40 hours a week, and I get paid for those 40 hours per week, or whatever hours per week, and that's it. My time is traded for money, and I'm not, there's no scaling, there's no exponential growth. I just slowly get to a certain level. So then I was okay, I'm going to study finance. So instead of going to university, I went to college, because there was more of a technical aspect. I studied finance at college. I finished that program. I majored in financial planning. I got my securities license to sell securities. That has since lapsed, that specific license, because I never got it registered. That's another story. While I was studying finance, I ended up working at a bank on the customer service side of things. I did not like it again. I always like, wherever I've worked, I always like the people I work with. I always like the atmosphere. That's not the problem. The sense of fulfillment was lacking. So I did that for 2 years, and in that time I finished my program at George Brown, and I got my license. So then I went to another bank for a different position, more on the sales side of things. It was a higher level of position, and it was on the sales side of things, and I did it for a very short time, and I was this is the same crap. I still don't feel fulfilled. I know I wasn't in it for very long. I was there for 3 months, but I was this is just the same stuff from the other bank. It's just different packaging, let's just say. So I left. I just quit. I had really not a real backup plan. I thought I was going to go back into electrical. I tried that for a very short period of time, and I didn't like it. Same problem. I was why am I just going back to the same craps? So I ended up getting a job where I still currently am employed. I'll probably be going back to work soon. I work with meat. I cut meat, I package meat, I put it on display, whatever. However, as much as I enjoy that, and that's more of a cultural passion of mine too, as much as I enjoy it, still don't feel that fulfillment. It was only after, a few months before my knee surgery, but after my knee injury, that I started to think about taking more action in the sense of exploring what I really want to do. So I realized that on the finance side of things, it's not that I didn't like finance and personal finance, I just didn't like the structure that the banks provided for me. So I found a way to independently offer financial advice and financial planning for people. I don't have any goals or quotas. That is one thing that I do. I've started to resurface my passions for art. I've started to play the piano again. I started to draw again. I've started to explore other things. I'm open to any kind of income generating opportunity. I haven't generated much, but my mind is looking at it on a different wavelength now. So that's where I'm at today. I still am employed in the meat department of the company that I work for. But I am focusing on other things. I will be returning to work probably soon. I don't know when exactly. That depends on my next follow-up appointment. Getting a little personal. So, basically, to sum it up, my journey has been one of constantly feeling unfulfilled until recently, where I had this revelation where it's not so much what I'm doing, it's more how I'm doing it, if that makes any sense. So I'll leave it at that, and that's basically my story. I went from, I didn't get into every little detail, but I went from university to electrician apprentice, really, to college, to banking, to meat department. But there's all little gaps in between of, time fillers, let's just call them. So that's where I'm at today. And what I've done is started to take all my passions of gaming and creativity and fantasy literature and apply that creative element into different things. The finance thing is its own thing. I do have a passion for that on its own because I found people have always been asking me questions because they knew I studied finance. Now I have an outlet to actually help them. So my point is I don't just try to do one thing anymore. I try to do as many things as I can. I know that generally it's like you should focus on one thing. I don't know. I focus on things as I can. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's not right, maybe it is right, but I feel good about it. So that's all that really matters to me. That's all I have to say. Let's keep growing together. And what's your story? Please like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.